Shrek is love, Shrek is life. This is a quote from an infamous 4chan post that helped spark a cult-like following around the movie Shrek. People in the fandom of Shrek are called Shrekheads or Brogers, and they have an aptly named annual festival named Shrekfest. Additionally, they even have a fan remake of the original movie that came from Shrekfest. Now, it might seem a bit strange to celebrate a festival over a children's movie. I mean, usually people celebrate festivals over things like culture or religious events or holidays. And I think Shrekfest is no different. The Shrek fans who attend Shrekfest are rooting their identity in participatory culture. In participatory culture, media consumption is turned into production of new texts, a new culture, and a new community. Participatory culture has taken off everywhere, not just with Shrek. Think of things like VidCon, Comic-Con, or even E3. Millions of people gather to celebrate their favorite media. This participatory culture is really similar to folk culture. Folk culture is often associated with tradition, a sense of place, and community, and it manifests itself in culture, song and dance, mythology, and storytelling. Today, it's not uncommon to see people associate themselves more heavily with media that they love rather than their traditional folk culture. But why is that? Why has participatory culture replaced folk culture? The answer is postmodernism. Postmodernism replaced folk culture with participatory culture because under postmodernism, pop culture is one of the most powerful institutions, and there's a blurring of space and time. Shrekfest and the fan-made Shrek movie that was born out of it serve as really clear examples of how participatory culture has become the new folk culture. So what is postmodernism and why does it replace folk culture with participatory culture? Postmodernism can be a confusing can of worms, but I want to focus on just two aspects of it. One, that pop culture is the most powerful institution, and the blurring of space and time. I want to unpack these qualities a little bit to give you a clearer picture of what is happening in a postmodern society. Firstly, Srinati argues that in postmodernism, pop culture is the most important and powerful institution. Who we talk to, what we buy, and who we hang out with is largely determined by popular culture. Are you an iPhone user or Android? Do you have an Xbox or a PlayStation? Do you like How I Met Your Mother or Friends? Take, for example, what we think a good relationship looks like. Sure, we can get that from our parents, but we can also get that from Hannah Montana, The Office, or social media. What we consume has a profound impact on the way we understand the world. In postmodernism and globalization, there's a blurring of space and time. This is because of the internet. You can message anyone anything in literal seconds. Space is almost meaningless. Think about if you were an Italian farmer in the year 1457. You probably only talk to people within a 30-kilometer radius of you. Everyone you know is either Italian or Catholic. There's not a whole lot you can connect with them about other than those two things. So those things become the most important thing to you. But now, with the internet, you can connect with anyone about anything instantly. In a postmodern world globalized by the internet, the local became global and the global became local. In a society globalized by the internet, the web didn't offer an alternative culture. However, it became a home to already existing fan cultures. With the internet, fans can be involved in a collective action. This collective action, Dufay points out, is the postmodern version of culture. Participatory culture. Participatory culture is a route to becoming a part of a community through creative expression. Dufay points out that participatory culture is therefore like singing folk songs. Anyone can participate and modify content. Fan culture is similar to a folk culture insofar that it constructs group identity, articulates its ideals, and defines its relationship to the outside world. Its artists are supposedly equal to audiences and commune with them. The culture is transmitted informally. It also exists beyond commercial institutions and depends on voluntary participation to populate its ranks. This postmodern participatory culture manifests itself in things like Harry Potter fanfiction or Reddit theories about why Ant-Man could have just gone up Thanos' butthole, or even fanfiction about Anna and Elsa. But I think the best example of participatory culture replacing folk culture is in Shrekfest and the movie that it birthed, Shrek Retold. Shrekfest was started as a joke event on Facebook back in 2013 and was never intended to be real. However, some people thought it would be fun and jumped on board to make it real. In the highlight reel from 2017, some people were asked why they came to Shrekfest. One lady answered,
"Everyone just loves Shrek here. It's what brings us together."
Another Shrekhead described the festival as,
"It's all about being here with a group of people hanging out having a good time."
People were here to connect over Shrek rather than a nationality or a religion. And this is just something that wouldn't have been possible before postmodernism, globalization, and the internet. Shrekfest even has its own traditions like the onion eating contest and the ogre scream contest. The film that birthed out of Shrekfest, Shrek Retold, is also a perfect example of participatory culture. Shrek Retold is a fan remake that connected over 200 creators to produce the film. Every 30 seconds or so, a new animator and a new style takes over. The director of the film mentioned in an interview that he was not able to pay people. The movie is free to watch on YouTube. People worked on, remixed, and recreated Shrek purely for fun. It was removed from the idea of profit. They weren't getting paid to do this. They did it because they wanted to. That makes it just like singing a folk song, singing a Christmas carol, or going to a festival. The director mentioned that he wanted people to have fun while making it. He intended the creation to be one big party. Shrek Retold is the perfect example of Buffet's argument of participatory culture being like reassembling a folk culture. The creation of Shrek Retold existed outside of commercial means, and the creators were on the same level as the audience and in communion with them. The same way that folk culture loves to retell myths or perpetually reimagine the same song, the Shrek community wanted to interact with the original Shrek movie. I think a lot of people would have looked down on someone for attending a festival based on a 2002 animated movie. Disney adults are always told to grow up, and Marvel fans are told to watch real movies. But in a postmodern society, a traditional way of understanding your place in the world through culture has been erased. There's no sense of time or space, and major meta-narratives like religion have been toppled. But people still need a community, and postmodernism delivers it to them through popular culture. Finding a community can be hard and difficult, especially when you're living through a global pandemic. Luckily though, the internet and popular culture have given people a new home.
Look, I'm not the one with the problem, okay? It's the world that seems to have a problem with me. People take one look at me and go, "Ah, help, run! A big, stupid, ugly ogre." They judge me before they even know me. That's why I'm better off alone.